Hello, I am Professor B. Prakash Rao, Coordinator, MCOM Department, Tunga College, Tirthahalli. This is my video number 7 under the subject Managerial Communication. In this video, as Group Communication Part 2, I am covering some aspects relating to meetings. In my earlier video number 6, I have covered the basic aspects relating to meeting, the difference between meeting, seminars and conferences as part of group communication. In the present video, I am covering practical aspects of meetings, how to conduct meeting, what are the steps that should be taken up in conducting meeting, etc. Conducting meetings. As meetings are an essential part of any organization, much effort must be made to conduct meetings successfully. It is an important skill which each manager needs to acquire. Conducting meetings requires some prior preparations like the time, place, venue, etc. and other documents relating to meeting. While the meeting is actually going on, it goes through the stages of beginning, leading, conducting and closing. Preparation for a meeting. The following are the broad areas where preparatory work relating to meeting is required. There are certain domestic arrangements that should be considered. It relates to answering or finding the answers for the following questions. Where will the meeting be held? That is venue selection. At what time and day it will be held? It should be convenient. What will be the duration of the meeting? Who will be invited to attend? That is the members who should be attended meeting. Who will chair the meeting? Who will be called upon to formally speak? Whether any expert has to be invited or whether the members only should be invited. Whether lunch, dinner has to be arranged. There are certain paperworks that should be considered or prepared and it should be ready at the time of meeting. The paperwork for the following will be completed: minutes of the previous meeting and related records, preparation of reports to be read in the meeting, preparation of agenda for the meeting. For conducting meeting, there should be some purpose. The purpose of conducting meeting should be decided. What do you want to accomplish through the meeting? What kind of meeting it is? Does the leader need to acquire specialist advice on any subject? Is the leader conversant with the reason of the meeting? Do you need to discuss any of the contents of the meeting with anyone in a higher management position? Do you need any support for running the meeting? For example, is there a need to arrange for visual aids for presentation? Do you use mic or other audio aids? Decide on follow-up action. Record ideas, discussions. There should be arrangement for recording ideas or discussions that take place in the meeting. Assess the outcome in the end. There should be a person who should be given the responsibility of assessing the outcome at the end of the meeting. Important preparatory points that should be considered while meeting takes place. It relates to agenda and other aspects. Agenda is the list of items to be taken up for discussion during the meeting. It provides the reason for calling a meeting. It should be ensured that there are adequate numbers of worthwhile issues which need deliberation, that is discussion, at the meeting. The items stated in the agenda should be relevant and appropriate, keeping in view the purpose of the meeting and the expertise of the members who will be participating in the meeting. There is a system of submitting what are called table items. Such items are tabled at the time of the meeting and are not sent in advance. If the chairperson and members agree, such items are also taken up for deliberation at the day's meeting. As a general rule, however, table items should be put up as an exception and only when warranted. That means Only in case of very much necessity, table items must be allowed. Background papers that needs to be prepared before the meeting. Every meeting of some importance will have some set of background papers which are sent in advance to the members who will participate in the meeting. These background papers relate to the items listed in the agenda and provide glimpses of issues involved. Background papers are normally prepared by the concerned persons or departments seeking a decision on the issue or a deliberation on the subject matter that is being discussed in the meeting. Background paper should cover all relevant details that need deliberation. This would normally include facts, figures, different views, expert opinion, latest position, and so on. Whom to invite to the meeting? Regular members of the meetings, who, wherever formally constituted, will have to be invariably invited. In addition to that, at this at some point, in the absence of a formal list, it would be essential to identify people whose presence would be significant when subjects are taken up for deliberation. That means a special invite is to the meeting. Invitation for the meeting is to be clearly drawn up indicating the date, time and venue of the meeting. Invitations have to be sent well in advance to ensure that outstation participants have sufficient time to make appropriate travel plans. Meeting notices will have to clearly indicate who should attend the meeting. Timing and venue. Care should be taken in fixing up the meeting that is convenient to most of the participants. While fixing the time and venue, care should be taken so that majority of the members will attend the meeting. A notice well in advance will ensure that participants get adequate opportunity to schedule or reschedule their arrangements. The date and time should be fixed taking into account holidays, other important events and functions which may clash with the meeting dates and time that make it difficult for the members to choose between one or other. It is generally expected that the person convening the meeting will take some trouble to ensure that most of the members, if not all, are in a position to attend and contribute. The venue of the meeting should be fixed up, obviously, well before the meeting notice is dispatched. In any organization, normally meetings takes place uh, on frequent basis. So there is the need to take into account whether there is availability of hall, conference rooms, etc. for the meeting. It is required to get confirmation that whether the venue chosen is available on the date and time of meeting. The meeting venue should have all the required facilities, that is physical facilities, fans, air conditioners, microphones, projectors, toilets, etc. Punctuality. Starting the meeting on time is an area that calls for conscious effort. Keeping the venue open and ready well in time, reminding the chairperson and other members, ensuring that all papers have reached the participants and table items are placed. It is necessary to ensure that the conveners and organizers are at the venue well before the scheduled time in making meetings time bound and purposeful. Time management is very important for conducting meeting. Time management is of essence in ensuring the effectiveness of meetings at all levels. Meetings which start on time, end on time, and provide adequate time for purposeful deliberation of the listed items ensure cost effectiveness. It also indicates the level of efficiency of the organization in terms of effectiveness of the meetings conducted at various levels. Check for meetings. The convener for the meetings have to give attention to every small detail and ensure that everything is in order. It would be desirable to maintain a checklist of items relevant to various stages, that is before, during and after the meeting. At every stage of the meeting, the checklist must be looked into. Minutes. A record of the decisions taken at a formal meeting is called minutes. All companies, statutory bodies, social organizations, associations, whether registered or unregistered, and committees have to maintain a record of the meetings. The minutes are the official record of process of the meeting and the decisions taken there. They must be precise and clear. They are meant for future reference. The minutes are made available to all the members on request. At the next meeting, the minutes are read out by the secretary or may be taken as read if a copy was sent to the members. The minutes are then approved and signed by the chairman and the secretary as a correct report of the meeting. Essential points in meetings. The details given below are the essential part of minutes and must always be included. So in a minute, these things must be there. Name of the body and nature of the meeting, day and date of the meeting, time and place of the meeting, name of the chairperson of the meeting, names of other members present. If the list is lengthy one, list is attached if there are many names. Leave of absence to those who are not present. If the members are not present in the meeting, leave of absence should be noted. And then the resolutions passed in the meeting. Vote of thanks to the chair. Other aspects relating to minutes. The first item of the minutes is always the reading and confirming of the minutes of the previous meeting except for first meeting. If minutes are circulated well in advance, they will not be read. If objections are not received to date, the minutes stand confirmed. Leave of absence is usually recorded before minutes are confirmed. The last item of the minutes is a vote of thanks to the chair. Other items in the minutes depend upon the agenda and items discussed during the meeting. The minutes will include only the resolutions passed at the meeting without giving details of the discussion which took place before the decision was taken. There is no need of recording the discussions. It is necessary to record only the resolutions passed in the meeting. The minutes will also include a record of the proposals made, a summary of the discussion, voting on the proposals. A style and method of writing minutes is fixed by custom and practice by each organization. That is, depending on the custom and practice in an organization, the style and method of writing the minutes may be decided. Resolution. When the suggestion is adopted by the meeting, the common decision is recorded as a resolution to take action. A resolution may be ordinary or special. Ordinary resolution require majority support in terms of votes. Special resolution requires support of 3/4 members present. Resolutions are passed unanimously or by vote. In case of voting, it may be carried on either by show of hands or secret ballot. A resolution has a heading indicating what it is about. For example, the resolution with heading such as appointment of secretary, appointment of bankers, appointment of auditors, signature on negotiable instruments, who will sign on the check, etc. Specimen resolutions. Some specimen resolutions of a company meeting are given here. Construction of new building. Resolved that a new building be constructed on the north side of the factory for the staff welfare center. It was further resolved that the secretary be and is hereby authorized to invite tender for the construction and to take any other arrangement required for getting the building constructed. Chairperson of Board of Directors. It was resolved that Shri M. Shetty be and is hereby elected chairperson of the Board of Directors. Appointment of Secretary. It was resolved that Sri Vijay Rao be and is hereby appointed Secretary of the company at the monthly salary of rupees 75,000. The appointment being terminable by either side on 3 months' notice, and that an agreement be prepared by the company's advocate embodying these terms. Appointment of auditors. It was resolved that Messrs. Nutan and Mithun, Chartered Accountant Shimoga, be and is hereby appointed auditors of the company till the conclusion of the first general meeting of the company. Appointment of bankers. It was resolved that Canara Bank Shimoga be and is hereby appointed bankers to the company, and that the secretary be and is authorized to open the company's account with the bank. These are the examples of a company meeting, maybe taken as specimen resolutions. Condolence resolutions. A condolence minute is in three parts. That is, how to write a condolence resolution when a member of the company or trust, etc., uh, passed away or dies. The first part states that the chairman referred to the demise and that a resolution was passed. The second part mentions the person's achievement, nature, ability, etc. It also expresses the sorrow and sense of loss felt by the members of the meeting. A condolence message, whether a resolution, a letter, or a speech, should be brief and yet express sufficient appreciation of the person. Sincerity is the most important requirement of the resolution. A copy of this portion of the minute is sent to the bereaved family. The third part mentions that the meeting stood in silence and that it authorized the secretary to convey the condolences of the meeting to the bereaved family. It is not necessary that condolence resolution is passed only when demise of the member of the company, etc., takes place. Even for a person who is concerned to the organization, uh, with reference to him also, a condolence message, condolence resolution may be prepared. An example is given here. Homage to Sri Natesh. The chairperson referred to the sad demise of Sri Natesh and spoke of his contribution to the theatre and dramatic literature in Kannada. The following resolution was passed. This general body meeting of Natak Sangha records its deep sense of loss and grief at the demise of Sri Natesh. The world of literature and the theatre has lost a great patron and leader in his passing away. As a mark of respect of the departed dramatist, the members stood in silence for 2 minutes. The secretary was asked to convey the condolences of the Natak Sangha to the family of Sri Natesh. So this is end of part 2 of group communication. In my next video, I am going to cover the aspects relating to seminar and conferences. Please look forward for my next video also. Thank you.